Hey there, soccer fans. Welcome on to this week's episode of Between the Posts. He's, of course, Matt. I'm, of course, Jason. We're here to break down the entire Premier League action this weekend. We've been treated to some good action so far this week, already with Champions League and Europa League, and we look to carry that on into this weekend. How's it going there, Matt?
Great, having a great day. Did love gearing up for this weekend. I thought that there was some fantastic matchups last week. Like if you watched Arsenal versus Villa, that was one of those classic Premier League matches that you just can't take your eyes off of. So yeah, that was a huge win for them, and yeah, kind of in between some Champions League stuff this week. So yeah, we'll see how things shake out.
Yeah, as we do turn our attention now back to the Premier League, I'm wondering how maybe midweek Champions League, Europa League may, affect this coming weekend's matchups. The Premier League teams don't look all that hot in Europe. Obviously, we've got United taking on Barcelona. That's to be determined. But in terms of the Champions League, hey, it looks like your Chelsea could be bowing out. Tottenham could be bowing out. The AC Milan, they're down. Obviously, Liverpool is down, against Real Madrid. And City, not a great performance yesterday. They've got it all to do there at the Etihad still, so we'll see what they can do in European action. But yeah, let's go ahead and turn our attention to the Premier League, where it all kicks off Friday with we've got Fulham here at home taking on Wolves. Matt, I'm interested to get your take on this one. A Fulham team that have gone now 5 straight Premier League games of not cashing over 2.5, where they were the early over 2.5 darling of this Premier League season. In fact, their games are now averaging only 2.7 goals per match. And then if you look in this head-to-head with Fulham's recent form of cashing under 2.5, this head-to-head dating back to 2017 has done nothing but cash under 2.5. I feel like maybe this could be a get-right spot for Fulham, although they have come in 1-2 in a row and a good one over Brighton over the past week. Maybe they can continue winning and then also keep this one under 2.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I would lean unders here just based on Fulham. They do look really solid. Wolves we know are generally pretty tough to break down, but really this is a pretty easy pass for me. I don't have anything on this game. I don't really want to get involved. Fulham still finding ways really to stick in games, especially on the
Mm-hmm.
road. They've been super solid recently. Now you kind of have them at home in this favorite role. They basically so like basically the two teams are dead even. That's what this line says. The teams are dead even. Fulham has the home advantage. Um, I
Feels
got
like that. Feels like that.
yeah, I think that both these teams are even. I really don't have a good feel either way. Maybe slight lean in the draw no bet market to the home team, slight lean to the under 2.5. But I think that both of them are quite juicy, and I'm not really that interested.
I think the reason I'm willing to take Fulham here is remember a few weeks ago I mentioned how Wolves were the only team in the Premier League that hadn't scored after the 60-minute mark. They just have no fight at home against Bournemouth last week, and we can't. We're going to lose 1-0 to Bournemouth, a team that's terrible on the road, conceded the most goals in the league on the road. Wolves just don't have enough fight for me. I can't imagine them having fight away from the Molyneux. I'm going Fulham here. I like them to get the win. And then if I had to pick an over/under, I'm just going to side with some of the recent trends of the season and also obviously in the head-to-head. So that's where I'll lean on that one. So, all right, let's see if you do got a bet. Obviously, there's some games that are postponed this weekend due to the EFL Cup Final, which Matt and I will talk about here between Manchester United and Newcastle as well. But let's pick up on one here between Everton and Aston Villa. It kicks off the Saturday action. There's no early game because that one's postponed due to that EFL Cup. Matt, I think most of the viewing audience already knows where I'm going to fall on an Everton match that's got Sean Dice leading the guys out onto the field. It's an under 2.5 for me. It's cashed in all 3 of his, and it's looked pretty easy in all 3 of those as well. Unless you've got something to get me off of an under 2.5, that's what I'm locked and loaded and ready to give out.
Yeah, it's shaded the right way. Minus 160, you're gonna have to pay for it, but sometimes you just have to pay for it, and that's just the way. Maybe shop around, you might be able to find a little bit, maybe under 150 possibly. But yeah, that's the only way to look here. Just keep riding your favorite dice under 2.5. I don't know who's going to win this game. It's most likely going to be pretty tight, cagey. Neither team wants to lose this one. I think that Everton are in good form right now. They're picking up points a little bit left and right. What a goal last week from Coleman. The near
A goal or
post.
a cross? What the hell was that thing? And what the hell was that goalkeeper doing that he doesn't stop that? Like, what the hell was all that?
It was actually just like it was just a great play by him, like just to go for it, and then he did rifle it into like it was a. I would say like you would like to think that the goalie can do a better job, but sometimes those guys are just ready for the crossing and all that stuff. And I think it was just a great play by Coleman and just a great shot. So it was just one of those rare kind of fluky goals, but it was quite clinical really in the end of it, and he knew exactly what he was doing. So yeah, under 2.5, pay it. Don't matter.
Yeah, I paid under 2.5 last week. Obviously, I was rewarded. Watched that match. It was on USA. I'm continuing to see nothing from them from open play that makes me get nervous when I lock it in under 2.5. So yeah, I'm gonna take the card and see if it can't cash for the fourth straight game in a row now. So all right, so it sounds like we both like it under there. What do we like here in Leeds versus Southampton? Obviously, I think Leeds finally signed a manager. I think they got Javi Garcia, a longtime Watford manager, I believe. Just the fact that he comes from Watford makes me believe that he's probably got some experience fighting either a relegation or maybe bringing promoted from the championship. So he seems like he's in the right spot here now, helping out Leeds. And the battle is there in 19th, taking on Southampton, who's in 20th place. That leads me to believe that this one's going to be scrappy as all hell. 20th versus 19th. I mean, both of these teams, Leeds can't even remember the last time they picked up a win. Southampton does come off a win against Chelsea, but is that just taking advantage of a Chelsea team that it's just trying to work in too much new and just doesn't have it flowing right now in front of net? Nobody can seem to find a finish, and I feel a little sick for Graham Potter. If he's on the hot seat, I think a little unfair, but it is what it is. So back to this one, though. I struggle, Matt. It feels cagey. Though. This one feels like maybe you could take a stab at the cards. I know Premier League's not a good card market, but this one could be your one.
Yeah. Yeah, the cards angle does look good. I think that's a great way to play this one. Really, over 4.5 bookings at plus 105. I think that's a good way in here. Leeds seem to be pretty feisty with that. I think that last week there was 4 cards in the first half. So yeah, there should be a good amount of cards. I think that's a good look, Jason. I think that's a really good look. We talk about all the time, Jason. I mean, here's your chance. Do you want to back this managerial bounce thing?
You're right.
You're getting Leeds. They're at home. It's a tough place to go, plus 100. But the Southampton road victory last week is impressive, regardless of even if Chelsea have these. I mean, they're super talented. That's still going to build a lot of confidence and give. I mean, Leeds, like you said, they really have been struggling to to pick up victories left and right. I mean, I'd be looking maybe towards the player prop market, and it's the guy that we've kind of talked about here is like Willie Ganato, maybe to score or assist, just kind of back him. I think that he's just such a quality young player, and you can get a pretty good price in that market. So, yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, probably going to end up leaving it unless I see a really solid Leeds lineup that just look at the line movement and see kind of what's going out there, what's going on in the market really. And it'll probably be left alone, or the over 4.5 cards might be a really strong look though.
Does Southampton, I don't know if I missed it or not, do they come in still managerless? They haven't. I know they tried to get Jesse Marsh and that seemed to fell through. Are they coming in with nobody still? Just like they went into Chelsea with nobody?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. I wish, it would have been cool if Marsh was there and got that win on the road and stuff. And then, yeah, that would set up a great matchup here with Marsh. That would have been can't miss stuff, really.
Yeah.
I'm most likely going to miss this one, or just kind of like you said, I think the cards angle is very valid.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a scrappy relegation fight. All right. Let's go ahead and move over now here to Leicester taking on Arsenal at the King Power Stadium. I feel like I want to back Arsenal here. The best away squad, got 28 points, only got 2 losses and 12 fixtures on the road. Versus a Leicester side here that really last weekend at Old Trafford was outplayed. I mean, they had a few chances in that first 10, 15 minutes, and then once United settled down, it was really all United, and Leicester didn't get much the rest of that game. I'm going to imagine against a better side, Arsenal, that's going to continue, even though that's at home. I'm not seeing anything out of Brendan Rodgers' squad that is getting me all that much excited. So even though this is a home team, I'm going to fade with the favorite here, the Arsenal, the road machine this season that scored 24 goals, only conceded 9 in 12 fixtures. Give me Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'd maybe be looking towards the team total route, how United cut open Leicester for 3 last week. I'm just going to play. This is the first play of the week. I'm going to play just the over 2.5 here. minus 150. I think it's shaded correctly. I'm going to pay the juice for it. I think that Leicester can contribute if they can just be a little bit better than what they were last week on the road at Old Trafford. Now they come back home, but just kind of stick to backing Leicester overs. I think that it's been a safe bet over the last calendar year or so, and I think that, like you mentioned, Arsenal just get going. Love what they that comeback last week against Villa was really impressive. So they'll be riding that high. I think that Arsenal score 2, maybe more on their own, and then. I think that Leicester can contribute, but I'll just stay away from the BTTS and over 2.5 just because I think that, it's possible Arsenal could do it on their own.
Yeah, that BTTS burned me last week. And like I said, they had chances in that first 10, 15 minutes, and then it dried up. And I knew the both teams would score. Part of that over 2.5 was something. They just weren't getting enough chances in that second half at all. So, all right, you'll just take that over 2.5, and I agree. This is an Arsenal, that can cover that on their own. I was wondering what their team total was, and it's minus about 150 for a goal and a half for over, a goal and a half. So it feels right. Feels like if they're going to win the game, I think they're going to get a couple goals in the process. So that could be a good play. Let's move it over to more Saturday action. We've got West Ham taking on Forest. Okay, so Forest not at home. Forest getting a result against Manchester City, but that is at home, which I don't want to say, is unexpected, but I think it is still a little expected due to the caliber opponent Manchester City. And Manchester City was just punished for not getting an insurance goal. Dominated that match, but couldn't get the insurance goal. So now we look at this Forest team on the road. They're going to struggle here a little bit against a West Ham team, though, that's not doing much. I mean, really not doing much. Not even doing much at home. 4 wins, 2 draws, 5 losses. Their goal differential is 12 and 13 and 11 away matches. Thought maybe last week they were going to compete against Tottenham, catching them off the Champions League, off a flight of Milan in Italy, and West Ham just couldn't get it done, dropping 2-0. So because Nottingham's just so bad on the road, it makes me not want to touch this match. I'm so nervous.
Yeah, this match stinks. I can't believe that West Ham United are priced here at this minus 125. Nope. I mean, I can see this price being there at the beginning of the year. I mean, for sure, I would have priced this here or even more maybe. I'm looking through some of the injury reports, just trying to see if I can gain any kind of edge right now. But there isn't much. I mean, there's a lot of key pieces missing for West Ham. Still Zuma's out. I really like to have him in there because I think he's their best overall center half. Maxwell Cornet, he just has been injured for a while. So he'll be coming back somewhat soon, but still, it's just, I like him off the bench. Skamaka still kind of like in this limbo phase. So yeah, it's a funky one, maybe you look towards like that, like kind of relegation scrap thing. Like we kind of touched on over 3.5 bookings in this one at minus 120, just saying like these teams are going to fight for everything here in this. And then generally like will lead to a pretty heavy card battle. But yeah, this one is, it's a tricky one to decide. I would give a slight lean, like you kind of mentioned with Forest Road struggles. I still think that West Ham are better. I think this line shows that they're a clear-cut better team. I think they've got the better players with Rice and Bowen, and maybe they can do it for them. I would lean on the home side, but not with much confidence.
Yeah, you can't have much confidence in this West Ham squad. I mean, this is the West Ham squad, Matt, that scored 1 more goal in the season than Forest. I mean, they've scored 1 more goal. They're going to come into this fixture in the relegation zone, not Forest. It's West Ham who's in the relegation zone. I mean, it's just, man, West Ham's been a tough team to bet this season because they've just been so disappointing. They're almost hard to bet their games.
They've won 1 in their last 11. So who's really like?
And how are you betting on them if they've scored 19 in 23 games? It's not like you can predict they're going to score goals. They can't turn up a performance worth anything.
It's a clear-cut pass. I mean, it could be unders, Jason. I mean, unders would maybe be a halfway decent look here.
Unders has been a good way in West Ham games. We've talked about them. Their games average 2.1 goals. I don't know what Forest is off the top of my head, but I know West Ham's way down there.
Yeah, they're just not clinical. They don't take their chances. So yeah, I mean, unders would probably that's the best lean in this one, unders.
All right, let's go ahead and turn our attention now. Let's go ahead and look at this next one. You got Bournemouth taking on Manchester City. When I was looking at this one before the show, I really wanted to know what Bournemouth had done at home against big clubs. Maybe like were they able to keep it low scoring, or did it just get out of control for them? They've really only played Tottenham. I mean, maybe you want to include Newcastle. They've certainly at least a top 6 side this season. It was 1-1. The match against Tottenham was 3-2. Otherwise, they haven't played anybody at home, so I couldn't really find a good comp. You know what, Bournemouth, though, boy, they've conceded 44 goals on the season. 12 of those have been at home. So they've obviously been a much better home side. They're still not scoring at home. They've only scored 11 goals. So let's not make it sound like just because they're at home they're going to score. But they're not defending like they do when they go on the road. Maybe they'll get a little bit of confidence coming off the win at the Molineux. This one feels like with the way City played against Leipzig, they were in control of the game in terms of, Leipzig wasn't even really getting in the City's half. And that whole first half, they only got in the final third one time. So while they controlled it, they didn't create jack. I mean, their goal came out of nothing. It was even funny even to hear the announcer kind of say it, because I kind of said that a little bit out loud before him, and then the announcer says it. So they had nothing even with how they controlled the game. You hope Kevin De Bruyne is going to come back in. Obviously, he was out yesterday due to his illness. I don't know. Matt, we still got the same problem, though. They can't get any delivery into Holland. He had one touch yesterday. They can't get anything. I know Bournemouth is not a big side, but there's 6-8 straight games in a row worth of tape on how to prevent delivery into Holland. Bournemouth wants to focus on it. You shop Holland, you seem to stop this team lately.
Yeah. He's been in really a weird place right now. Like Holland, I don't get it. I don't get how they're not finding service to him. City are completely boring right now. We've seen this before, like when they do go 1-0 up and then they really control and suffocate a team. And they're pretty boring, and that's kind of what it is right now. I mean, they're just not free flowing at all. It's you can't wrap your head around it because they've just still got like the same world class players. It makes no sense. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, like we were like Holland was like minus 300 to score. I was like, what about the no market? You know what I mean? To like
Right.
not score, like that's a big price, and that's worthy of hitting.
It's worthy of taking now.
It is. It is worthy of taking. I mean, he shouldn't be priced in like he's going to be priced what in this one like minus 300 or something to score. Like that's ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
Minus 275 on DraftKings. You know what I mean? Like that's just it's nowhere near my money right now. It's crazy to say. But yeah, I'd be looking towards like the alt line market, like in terms of the spread, and like saying like you kind of mentioned Bournemouth. They've kept it tight at home. They don't concede as much. Under 3.25 here, minus 135, or the under 3 flat at minus 105. I mean, both of those are interesting looks, but this match probably won't take a dime from me.
I don't know. I'm showing on Bet Rivers minus 143 to score, plus 114 to not score. Holland to not score at plus 114. The only thing that makes me nervous is he is on pen duty. They had that little issue the last time they had a pin with Mahrez taking the pin over Holland, but Guardiola said he was going to straighten that out, so we assume Holland is back on pen duty. I really look at this matchup and think, okay, City against a newbie into the Premier League, they should cover a team total, and then I go right back to what they do last week on the road against a newbie in Forest that has kind of the same goal differential splits as Bournemouth. Terrible on the road, but really good at home. I might take me a slice of Bournemouth, like plus 2.5. I might take me a team total for City under. It might even just take Holland to continue to struggle and take him at plus money to not score.
Yeah, that's amazing. That the disparity of the books, like Bet Rivers minus 140 and DraftKings minus 275, and FanDuel's probably like minus 300. Like that's wild to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look at let me look at this Asian total. Let me see what Bournemouth like plus, because you should be able to get 2-ish. I wonder.
Yeah, you can get no, not really. You can get plus 1.75 at minus 130 on DraftKings. You might be able to find a plus 2 at minus 150 somewhere. It's possible.
Or you could take a first half under if you like. If you take like the typical side of these sides that just are going to be here to defend, right? Bournemouth isn't going to do anything but defend. They're going to try and do the same thing Nottingham just did last week, and they were able to get a point. So
yeah, this would be a hold your nose and be with Bournemouth and unders if you can.
Right. Wow, it's crazy to think that that's where we're at with Man City against a team that's new to the Premier League, and we're thinking like they can't cover a team total, and will they get the 3 points? Probably, but it's not clean and dusted like it has been in years past. If they're just going to go in and get 3 points and walk out. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, let's go ahead and turn our attention now to Selhurst Park. It's the last match on Saturday. We've got Crystal Palace taking on Liverpool. Matt, I am a little torn here because I'm trying to decide in handicapping this game. Am I going to trust the Liverpool side that was really good in the Premier League the last two outings? Looked really good against Newcastle, looked really good against Everton. Had a trip up in Champions League, but that's like Real Madrid tier 1 quality versus Crystal Palace tier 5 or 6, like significantly below Real Madrid. So do I think Liverpool can get back to winning ways if they step in the Premier League against an opponent that they think they should handle? That's kind of the decision that I'm trying to make. I would like to see lineups. I'm about tired of seeing Henderson led midfield, just too slow for my liking. Maybe Darwin Nunez can start to find some form. What a nice backheel goal he had against Real Madrid. So if he can get going, that would obviously be a big boost to them. I'm so torn because Liverpool's performances have been too up and down lately. What do you think with your squad?
I think that looking at Nunez is a strong look. I think I think he's a fantastic player. I mean, he's gonna light this league up. Darwin Nunez is a clear baller in my mind. He'd be a nightmare to go up against. Yes, some of his finishing hasn't been great, but he's adapting to the league. He's adapting to his teammates, and you can see that he's starting to get going right now. So I think that his prices are slightly, I think they're off. Like plus 150, you might even find bigger to score. I think that I think those are decent looks. I really do. I think that this head to head, Jason, is it's dominant. And everybody is counting Liverpool out right now. Everybody thinks Liverpool sucks, and they kind of do. They still have 1-2 straight in the Prem. It's just baffling what happened against Real Madrid. I mean, they caught them off guard at the beginning, and then they let go, and it was really, really weird stuff. I have not seen Liverpool like that really in the Klopp era ever. And then, you kind of hope that it can be like a bounce back for like their recruitment in the summertime and stuff. And maybe they can try to pull something together from this season. They're going to need to get all 3 points here. They need these. I think that Palace are vulnerable. I mean, just look at this head to head. Haven't been beaten by Palace in their last 11. They've won at Selhurst 8 consecutive times. Yes, those were. I mean, that's dating back to 2015, so that's still pre-Klopp era. But I mean, Jurgen Klopp hasn't lost here. They've scored 1+ against Crystal Palace in 21 straight, 2 or more in their last 8 on the road. They've cashed their team total. I think that's where I would go, Jason. I think that the team total over 1.5 makes the most sense. I think it's worthy of a bet. I will be on it. I think that the head-to-head is too much for me to pass up here, and I think that you still have this like bounce back performance after being kind of humiliated at Anfield, and like I think that Jurgen will be able to motivate these guys to get them up and ready, and I think that they get this job done here. I agree with maybe checking lineups. I think that Zaha's out, which is another boost, but he's going to be iffy. He might be on the bench. I don't know. Those kind of things just leave me a little bit worried on that. I just want to maybe just check all my boxes on that one. But I think that Liverpool get this job done. I did.
That head-to-head was staggering when I looked at it. That was the thing. I was like, boy, if there's an opponent that you're catching at the right time, it's like, ooh, we get Palace. And when we need a bounce back, we're getting Palace, a team that they've dominated. Palace in their own right, they haven't had a win since New Year's Eve. I mean, they've just struggled in 2023, not scoring, conceding. It's just been an absolute mess for Crystal Palace. So, all right, so you like that Liverpool team total over 1.5 goals. All right, let's go ahead and turn our attention now to the last Premier League game, which is on Sunday, and then we'll pick up the EFL Cup Final. And we'll go ahead and kick off this game between Chelsea and Tottenham with Israel's comment here in the chat. He proposed a question to you, Matt, basically about Graham Potter. A, how long are we going to stay with Graham Potter? And B, if not, when is he going to get the sack, says Israel.
I mean, I'm seeing some things like I saw some things on Twitter the past couple of days. Like if he does lose this match, like, he's gone. gosh, I really don't know with the new ownership, Todd Bowley, the American, like how much, can he stomach of this stuff? But I don't think it's on Potter. I do think that Potter's a great manager. I think he's solid. It's
Hmm.
just this new, there's all these new pieces, new faces, new names, new
Injuries
city that
too.
these
I mean,
guys are.
yeah.
It would be a mistake. Let's just say this: if Chelsea do end up sacking him, it would be a mistake. I think that Chelsea have been making a ton of mistakes recently, and just in terms of their transfer policy, what they've done since Abramovich left the club, was basically forced out of the club due to everything that's going on in the world today, and it's kind of a mess. It's a little bit of a mess there in Chelsea right now, and I mean Potter has got to find a way to get some results quickly, or he will be the scapegoat.
I will say the one thing that maybe Graham Potter has on his side is they weren't quick on the hook when Dave Roberts wasn't winning World Series with the mega squad. Like it took him a while there with the Dodgers, and then obviously now they're winning World Series. So maybe he will show some and kind of stick with Potter there for a little bit. But I mean, to your point, he's in trouble. We're all seeing the things that are being put out there on the various news platforms that he is full on in trouble. So now he's got to go to White Hart Lane, and now he's got to try and get a result here against a Tottenham squad that injuries wise, they still have got the same kind of concerns there with Basuma and obviously Bentoncourt. Those are long term season absentees in the midfield. But a team that, I don't know if I don't want to really want to get in front of Tottenham's way. You know what I mean? Like 2 straight wins at home. Got the win there last week against West Ham. Got the win against Manchester City not too long ago at home. I like Tottenham here, but I don't know if I can bet it because Chelsea, while they haven't scored goals, I feel like to me they're creating enough. Like the goals are there within matches. It's just missing, whether it's post, crossbar, whatever. Man, if those just start falling, then it's easy to back Chelsea, but I can't do it until I see it once. Until then, I'm just probably going to back off this one. What about you?
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with this. It's just, I think when the lineups drop, you're going to be like, wow, it's like really hard to lay off Chelsea. I think that they will look superior. But like you said, I got to see it first. I've got to see them cross the line as a better. I've got to see them do it before I can feel confident with backing them. So it's a clear cut pass. Maybe a top 6 kind of lean unders. This one maybe is tight. Chelsea, I mean, they've been struggling to score goals. They're creating chances, but they're not falling. Yeah, this is a tricky one. I guess I would slight lean towards unders, just saying this one's going to be really tight.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead now and flip it over outside the Premier League, Matt. Let's go ahead and jump it over to the EFL Cup. We got one more game we want to talk about here. This is on Sunday. This is the reason why we don't have that as many Premier League matches this week. And Manchester United's taking on Newcastle. I cashed under 2.5 in their only fixture earlier this season when it was a 0-0 draw there at Old Trafford. This, Matt, when I look at these two teams for the EFL Cup Final, I just say, whatever you can do, Newcastle, I can do better in Manchester United, and I want the money line at plus 120. I don't know what the score is, how they get it done in terms of the margin, but they're the better squad, and over 90 minutes, they're going to get it done. And I don't know, maybe you or I at some point will probably touch on the goalkeeping advantage they obviously have, but I just think their advantages are all over the pitch. Maybe it got lucky it was 0-0 in the Premier League, but in a cup game and a final, I think United's going to pull it out. I want that money line at plus 120.
I do too. I would like some United this week. I think that Newcastle, I mean, they got figured out a little bit. I mean, they're missing some pieces. I know that Bruno Guimaraes is coming back in for this one, I believe. So that's obviously huge for them because I think they've missed his creative ability. If you look at the beginning, like just kind of this like trend where they're just kind of scraping draws, these low scoring. They're not scoring a ton. Their defense is still solid, but I mean, it's Marcus Rashford time right now. It's just the dude is just he's the best player in the world right now. There's no doubt about it. And Marcus Rashford right now is in the best form of any player in the world, and right now he's number 1. So I would trust a talisman like that. Hopefully, you don't get Veghorst like kind of leading this line. You get some more speed up top. This is a big match for an Eric Ten Hag. You see that he's with Sir Alex Ferguson, getting some dinner a couple nights ago. You know that he's talking about silverware with Sir Alex Ferguson, guy that just could never, he wouldn't lose these kind of matches. it's very difficult to find a way to like think that Newcastle really will pose a huge problem here. I think this line is a kind of a gift, and I think it's going to move. So I would be getting on this one now.
All right, the two things I'll talk about based on what you brought about is Veghorst will certainly play because I think Martial is still out. But,
Yeah.
since the second half of Barcelona, they played him as a 10. They've actually slotted him as a 10, and Rashford's been the number 9, and they've kind of used Veghorst's size there in the middle of the pitch. So it'll be interesting to see if they do that again this afternoon against Barcelona or what they do there. And then the second piece, we got to mention it, is there's going to be no Nick Pope. He's out with that red card he picked up in Liverpool. Martin, and however the hell you pronounce his last name, he's club tied to Manchester United because he appeared in a couple of games when he was on loan. So they're bringing in your old guy, Lloris. Is he going to have any Wembley nightmares from the old last time he was in a final at Wembley and he gave up howler after howler? Because he could walk into that ground and go, oh, shit, last time I was here, this didn't go that well for me there, boys. And I haven't done anything competitively in a couple of years to begin with, and now I'm stepping back into the howler grounds of Wembley.
No, the Loris Karius freaking nightmare could continue. It absolutely could. I mean, the dude he hasn't been in like a big like competitive match in God knows how long. This dude, on the last time on the world stage was, I mean, I remember it. I remember exactly where I was, where he just completely fucked us, and it was there's no other way to put it. Like we were like just as good as Real Madrid, maybe even a little bit better, and the dude just fucked us.
So one howler after another, yeah.
Oh my God, that was gross. So,
He wasn't.
yeah, I mean, I cannot believe why is this plus 120, man? Like, why is this plus 120? They just thinking this is going to be really low scoring, and like the longer the game goes, like Newcastle are just going to try to hold on to get to overtime and shit. Like, not for me, man. This one, I think this does get decided in 90.
Yeah, I think it does as well. Like I said, it just feels like whatever you can do, I can do better. So, yeah, sign me up for that one. All right, let's go ahead and give out some bets. We've run through I think it's 8 Premier League games and the 1 EFL Cup final. I've got a couple to give out. I'll give out that Everton, Aston Villa under 2.5. You can get it at minus 148 over on Bet Rivers. And I'm taking that Man United money line at plus 120. Man United money line plus 120 in the EFL Cup. Otherwise, I didn't really think the card was all that great. I thought there were some tricky matchups, some matchups that weren't straightforward. So as of now, just those 2 bets for me. What about for you?
Yeah, I've just got 3 bets. They're slightly juiced, but it just kind of some good trends that I like. I'm taking Arsenal and Leicester over 2.5. I'm going to take Liverpool and over 1.5 goals in that one. It's a little bit less juicy than the team total. Just go shop around because I'm kind of just like focused right here on DraftKings, and there could be some better prices out there. I'd be looking towards Liverpool team total. I mean, they've cashed it 8 consecutive times over 1.5 goals on the road at Selhurst. I think that Nunez is in great form. So I'd be looking towards Nunez possibly. And then I'm going with United in this cup final. Those are my 3 bets. I like them all.
Yeah, I really like that United one as well. All right, cool. Yeah, they're going to get the job done up against Newcastle. Just really no real concerns there with me. All right, cool. So that's
I'm gonna have to wear a Newcastle jersey next week.
Yeah. troll me just like I'm trolling you right now with this Real Madrid kit. I like it. You know what? Then I'll just wear my Newcastle jersey and throw it right back in your face. We'll both be sitting here in Newcastle kits next week. All right, let's see what Israel says. Let's see. Tailing you on Man United plus 120. Too good. Like that Real Madrid at 200. I like that, Israel. All right, let's have ourselves a weekend. Good luck with your bets this weekend there, Israel and Brian, and appreciate everybody else hanging out with us this week on the episode of Between the Posts. We'll come on back next week. There will be another full slate in the Premier League. Have a good one, fellas. Enjoy the games, Matt.
You too.